What's up, guys, gals, non-binary pals, and none of the above? This is DL here covering one of my DPL tryout games. I'm attempted to get picked up for the Draft Premier League. If you're not familiar with it, it's basically the Draft League format version of the Smogon Premier League, in which there is a player auction, and then sort of and then it's a tournament where you're playing matches for your team, helping your team and trying to get that championship. This can be the second season of the DPL, and myself and a few other of the KSL coaches, if you're familiar with any of my other content, that's my main league. Like Hydra is trying out, Odin, Jamesy, all signed up. Um, Anybody else? I can't recall. Anyways, so this can be one of my tryout games for the team Trick of Eye, which is coached by LeJohn Flames and II. Shout out to them. And this can be my match against this guy Clutch. Clutch is a pretty good player. I saw one of his replays before this game. He saw somebody up with the Zatu. It's pretty cool. So his team is it's an 8-mon format, by the way. So yeah, it's Zero Aura, which is one Z captain, Torrent Greninja, which is another, Nidoking, Porygon 2, Tabubulu, Scizor, Zatu, and Rapidash. And then my team is Zygarde, which was Z captain, Salazzle is another one, Slowbro, Golisopod, Mega Diancie, Mandibuzz, Tangela, and Magnezone. So basically, I took core 4 members of my KSL Season 3 team, the Zygarde, Salazzle, Slowbro, Golisopod, and just sort of added onto it, adding Mega Diancie, which gave me a Fairy type, a good speed tier, and a rocker. Mandibuzz there to give me, ground immunity, dark type, defogger. Tangela is a really solid Pokemon for like 4 points. I've drafted it before. And then Zone just was probably the best steel type to fit my team. It was pretty cheap too. It was like 11 points. Metagross was like 12. Something wild like that. Anyways, going into this matchup, I was pretty sure. Oh, yeah. I was supposed to start playing this. My bad. Alright, you should have music now. Yeah, let's turn it up. There we go. Deshaun, where it at? Alright, my bad. Yeah, Scuff Productions here. Anyways, I was like, there's no way he's bringing freaking Rapidash against my team. Like, I have a Zygarde, I have a Slowbro, I have Mega Diancie. It's not gonna do anything to Mandibuzz. Like, probably gets bought by Golisopod, and Zatu is like his other low tier. As you can see, his team's kind of top heavy. I mean, well, most of these teams are in the 8-mon format. I feel like people just grab like 7 good mons and then one kind of trashy thing. But Zatu could potentially, magic bounce away hazards, but my hazard setters are Mega Diancie and Golisopod, and Zatu doesn't really deal with either of them particularly well. I didn't think it would do very well in a defensive role. An offensive Zatu could definitely come. Maybe something like a Scarf with U-turn. So yeah, I definitely expected these top 6 here. Zero Aura was a really big threat. My ground type is Zygarde, which is 4 times weak to ice. So Zero Aura is pretty scary for my team. Greninja just has a really good speed tier, outspeeds everything on my team, and just has so many moves. Nidoking is his only rocker, and it really is his only hazard setter in general, so I was pretty confident that Rock's Nidoking was coming. Probably some sort of 3 attack set, or maybe like dual stab plus toxic. Porygon 2 seemed pretty necessary because he's pretty weak to Golisopod. Something like Banded First Impression does, about half to Nidoking. Or like, or if they're not a very bulky Scizor, then they can still take like 45%, 50% from a Banded First Impression. So like P2, sort of the defensive glue of this team. It really stops them from just getting destroyed by Golisopod. Bulu, I thought, could definitely come. It's a really nice check to most variants of Zygarde. but we tried to put some tech on it. I'll talk about my team in just a sec. And then Scizor, I thought definitely a fast Scizor would come just to be able to outspeed Magnezone because the threat of trapping it's pretty big. And Bullet Punch is, yeah, Scizor is a really good check to most variants of Mega Diancie. So I definitely thought something like Banded would be really good to help pivot around with U-turn and not get caught by any trapping mons. And it's a really nice barrier to puts nice pressure on things like Tangela and Slowbro. It's a bug resist to try to help deal with Golisopod. And yeah, just a really good offensive check to something like a Rock Polish Diancie, which if it were not for Scizor, then something like Rock Polish, Calm Mind Diancie could really run through his team. So now we're gonna go through my team. The first Pokemon I decided to go with was Salazzle. This has a fantastic matchup against his team. You look at some of his core members like Tapu Bulu and Scizor are quad weak to its dual stab. Outspeeds Nidoking, you know, just Rapidash and Xatu obviously can't take a hit. I mean, obviously P2 can obviously eat up the hits, but you'll see my set. I've got Choice Scarf with the modest nature with enough speed for Nidoking, and a decent amount of bulk on here, which is really nice for helping deal with offensive variants of Scizor, or maybe something like Water Shuriken on Greninja, just to allow me to live some of those priority hits. And yeah, we have Overheat, which makes it effective revenge killer. A lot of his team's pretty fast, things like Zeraora, Greninja, possibly like Scarf Nidoking. And so Scarf Salazzle is a really nice way to come in and revenge kill. And Overheat does a lot more damage than Flamethrower. For example, it'll do like, I think it does like 15% more to a lot of Pokemon. And Toxic is really nice for catching P2. And thanks to my ability Corrosion, allowing me to poison Pokemon of any typing, it's also still able to deal with like Scizors and Scizors and Nidokings. They're trying to, make some sort of read, which you could ordinarily do against some sort of scarfed poison type, choiced poison type with Toxic. I can Toxic anything. Yeah, just Flamethrower and Sludge Wave for dual stab. Their fire resists are somewhat lackluster. Yeah, it's just Rapidash and Greninja. And Gren's taking a lot, like 33, 34 or something from Flamethrower, so it can only really switch in once. And then if Scizor goes down, then Sludge Wave's pretty free. Their only other poison resist is the Nidoking, which granted does 4 times resist. So yeah, that's those are the 2 barriers to Sludge Wave sweep. Next Pokemon is Tangela. Eviolite, HP Fire for Scizor. Knockoff's really nice for getting rid of items, particularly things like Life Orb from Nidoking, Eviolite from Porygon 2, like a Choice Band from Scizor. Giga Drain, just standard grass stab, give me a little more recovery. And then Toxic is nice for hitting Pokemon like Bulu and P2, in particular, putting those things on timers. Third Pokemon is a Choice Band Golisopod. This is a really strong mon against his team. As I mentioned, he's kind of lacking in bug resist, which is kind of weird. And like hit the bug resist he does have, Pokemon like Nidoking and Scizor really don't want to take something like a Liquidation. And the Choice Band just gives me a lot of the extra oomph and power that I want. I'm able to take out things like Porygon 2 in a couple hits if it's taken some prior damage. I'm able to pick up Okos on things like Zeraora, for example. It has a good chance to one-hit KOs. That able to do a ton of damage to Nidoking, like about half. And the Liquidation, it's a nice move for hitting Scizor and Nidoking. I could have fit Aqua Jet, but I didn't really think it was great to be choiced into that. And looking at the 6 I expected, Spikes is better than Rocks, since I didn't expect either of these 2 to come. So I decided to put Spikes to try to help with getting chip damage on things like Zeraora to allow Scarf Salazzle to clean up. And then Leech Life was nice for being a bug type I can click more than once. Yeah, bug type move. Get me some more recovery as well. This is enough speed for a defensive Porygon 2, and the rest put into bulk. Yeah, as hard hitting as possible. Next up we have a Foul Play, Roost, Defog, Brave Bird, Mandibuzz, the max special defense. This checks Greninja as well as Nidoking, especially if we can get rid of any potential boosting items from them. Defog is really important for getting rid of the rocks or T-spikes from Nidoking, and if it's not a toxic variant of Nidoking, then our Mandibuzz should be able to check it indefinitely. Foul Play is just nice for hitting a lot of his Pokemon. This can't really do too much to Porygon 2, but I have a lot of measures for that. So I already mentioned like Toxic on Salazzle, Knockoff Tangela. You'll see some of the other techs I have on my team for that. And Brave Bird is really nice for hitting Greninja harder to allow Mandibuzz to more effectively check it, as well as Tapu Bulu, which if they're like a substitute variant of Tapu Bulu, then that would hard wall something like a Foul Play Toxic Mandibuzz. And Brave Bird should be really nice, deal a good amount of damage despite Mandibuzz's low attack stat, thanks to it being super effective, stab, and a very high base power. And next we have a set recommended by Kara. It's a sort of Subtoxic Protect 1,000 Waves Zygarde. This is a trapping move, and this is designed to 1v1 Pokemon like Bulu, Porygon 2, trap them, toxic them, and eliminate them from the game. I was originally going to be a Nasty Plot Fiery MZ variant of Salazzle, but I changed that to the Scarf set. In hindsight, I think I might have preferred a Dragon Dance Zygarde with something like the Z Iron Tail for Bulu. I think that definitely could have been very effective. And also this set is hardwalled by Xatu, but I guess a lot of my team puts a lot of pressure on that to not be a ring. Yeah, I definitely think that DDZ Iron Tail would have been really good, because I outspeed Nidoking, and I think that's like their most likely Scarfer outside of Xatu, which can't really hurt me too much. Like at +1, I'll outspeed Zeraora, and if I'm able to take out Bulu with something like a +1 Z Iron Tail, like they don't have any other 1,000 arrows check. That's their only arrows resist. But oh yeah, and this set also can't really do much to a Roost variant of Scizor, because they'll be able to roost off my 1,000 waves. But if it's a non-roost variant, like a banded one or like SD3 attacks, then this could still put in work there. And lastly, we have Mega Diancie, which is a substitute Endeavor set with Moonblast and HP Fire. No Stealth Rocks this this battle. As I mentioned, spikes are just better for the majority of their team. And the combination of Substitute and Endeavor allows me to take on Porygon 2. And also, Substitute makes it a lot harder for Scizor to check it, as if I'm behind a Substitute, then the only way they're actually being able to force me out is if they're an Akaberry set. Then they'd have to pop their Akaberry for HP Fire. So I did think Akaberry was relatively likely, would help them against both Mega Diancie and Magnezone with the HP Fire. But yeah, Akaberry is definitely a set I expected. And this Mega Diancie can also really be nice with the Substitute in combination with the Magic Bounce ability. If something like Nidoking is in on me, if they predict something like a switch, I can sub up and maybe bounce back their hazards. So that's going to be the team. Let's go into the game here. As you can see, they brought their big six, their top mons. And at team preview, I'm pretty satisfied with this, because I definitely mostly prep for their top mons. Yeah, pretty happy. I definitely feel like Salazzle and Golisopod can put in a lot of work. Zygarde, yeah, going in at team preview, I wasn't too hot about this Zygarde set. Yeah, these two sort of were more niche. I definitely feel like the Diancie could be effective though. If I can get rid of or like get P2 down to like 10% or something with Endeavor. Sorry, let me drink some water real quick. Anyways, if I can weaken P2, then Salazzle can definitely sweep this team. As I mentioned, Greninja is the fire resist. So at the lead, I'm expecting possibly a Greninja lead, maybe Scizor, Nidoking, I just felt like Golisopod was my best lead overall. Something like P2 would maybe fear something like Knockoff. Though I didn't think P2 was a very likely lead. So I'm just going to lead with my Banded Golisopod. They're going to lead Zero Aura. If they are a very bulky variant of Zero Aura, which they very well could be, and would still be able to outspeed something like Salazzle, then they could EV themselves to live an Adamant Banded first impression. And I think that, although if they are that, then they can't actually KO me if they're a physical variant of Zero Aura with unboosted Plasma Fist, I don't think. But I value my Golisopod way too much in this matchup, and I'm just going to make the Tangela play, as my Tangela is designed to take on really any physical or mixed variant of Zero Aura. So I'm going to make the P2 play, and this is actually just fine because I'm going to be able to get off a free knockoff here. They don't have any Mega on their team. So we're going to be able to knock off Nidoking's Life Orb, which is fantastic. It's going to help my Mandibuzz very comfortably check this. I come in on the expected rocks. As you can see, I brought 3 Pokemon weak to Stealth Rock, so getting rid of these is very important. It's going to take the Ice Beam, and a crit's going to do 53 without the Life Orb, so we're going to be able to check this very comfortably. And them going for the Ice Beam there probably suggests they don't have Toxic. So we're going to go into the Tangela on the Zero Aura, try to scout its set. And that does a lot. And I didn't calc it at the time, but I calc on a later hit that this is in fact a Choice Specs Zero Aura, which is very scary in terms of the amount of damage that it's able to output. Able to deal with Tangela a lot better than it would have if it was like a mixed set or even Life Orb, since HP Ice is going to do more than anticipated. But it can also make it kind of awkward to try to deal with my core of Mandibuzz and Zygarde, since being locked into either of those moves can let me pivot quite nicely. And also since I'm a max specially defensive Mandibuzz, and they're a special variant of Zero Aura, I'm actually able to live any hit from it. So here I'm just going to make the... this is a nice play. So yeah, he's in on... He brings out his Nidoking on my Tangela. And I'm like, okay, so either the play is going to be to Ice Beam to try to hit my Mandibuzz, or to Stealth Rock. And I decide that I want to make an aggressive play and try to get my Salazzle in here. So I didn't think there was any universe in which they clicked Earth Power. And we're actually able to get Salazzle in on Bulu, which is excellent. And Bulu can't really do much to Salazzle outside of Zen Headbutt, and they'd have to like hard predict me to not use an attacking move there. So I'm just going to fire off a Toxic. So they bring in P2, and this is excellent. So I will be able to Toxic them and put this Porygon 2 on a timer, making it a lot more difficult for it to check things like Salazzle and Golisopod. So I'm going to pivot into the Tangela. Now that they've revealed to be specs on their Zero Aura, I don't really mind Tangela being toxic, whereas something like Mandibuzz being toxic would be a big travesty. So here they are going to bring out the Nidoking as I try to catch the Sizzler with an HP Fire, but still get some nice chip on this thing. Back into Mandy we go. They're getting some grassy terrain recovery, unfortunately. I'm going to make the aggressive swap into Zero Aura as I defog, but I really need these rocks away. And here is where I realize, oh my god, this is Choice Spec Zero Aura, as my Tangela is going to take 65. Yeah. Anyways, I'm going to make the play into my Diancie. Since I've not Mega Evolved, I'm quite thick. And this could also deal with... this would also help deal with a Porygon 2 play, predicting me to go into Golisopod. So I actually make the Greninja play, which is kind of bad for me. And here I know if I stay in regular form, then I can eat up something like a Surf from Torrent Greninja and Oko with Moonblast. So I'm just going to go for that, I believe. As they bring out the P2, and this does a decent amount of damage, And here I'm going to be able to use my combination of Substitute and Endeavor. I'm staying in regular form for the extra bulk, as this allows my Substitute to live something like an Ice Beam or I resist Tri-Attack, but Ice Beam or Thunderbolt, while I still outspeed this Porygon 2. And they're going to reveal the Iron Tail, which is great prep. Shows they really expected my Diancie to try to beat this thing, but it's only 75% accurate, so I'm just going to keep subbing up here, and if they miss, then I'll be able to knock out the P2 and Endeavor something down to like 1 HP or whatever. So we're going to sub again, so they're going to hit another one. They're taking toxic damage, and I know he's still outside of range of Moonblast. We sub again, and here we're just going to Mega Evolve, so that we get the Magic Bounce ability and can potentially switch in on something like Nidoking and Bounce Back Hazards later. And knock out this P2. So they're going to bring out Greninja, and I'm going to predict them to U-turn. This Pokemon's not particularly helpful anymore. You know, it loses to everything, because I don't have Earth Power for Nidoking. I mean, I guess it can do damage to Bulu, but it'll also recover with Horn Leech. So I'm just going to attack here, so they're going to knock me out with Ice Beam. I'm revealing that they do have the Ice Beam. I'm going to go into Golisopod. Oh my. I expected them to make Scizor play. I'm definitely expecting like some sort of Roost variant with Akaberry. So I'm gonna actually go off for a Liquidation as they Protect, which is a nice tech for my first impression. So I'm glad I didn't lock myself into that. So if I did go for a Bug Move, I'd definitely go for Leech Life here. So yeah, we're just going to click Liquidation again, try to scout. Yeah, obviously Bulu's coming in, but I want to see what his set's like. And this does reveal him to be max HP, and he does have leftovers. I'm able to get a little bit of Grassy Terrain recovery, which is nice. That's going on my Tangela. This thing can't really do anything to Tangela. And I do have HP Fire. Should be able to break any potential substitutes. So we're going to expect the Nidoking and go for the Giga Drain, which is great. I'm sorry, I'm so dehydrated right now. And with the Grassy Terrain boost, we're actually going to do a lot of damage to this thing. And here, like I keep making the safe Mana Buzz play, so I try to make play here. Like my Tangela is non-essential. I mean, I guess it checks Bulu, but my Mandaba, I have a lot of things for Bulu. So I try to expect him to read the Mandabuzz play, maybe go for something like an Ice Beam. I just go for another Giga Drain. He's gonna call me on that play, and he's gonna catch me with the Sludge Wave. So nice play on Clutch's part there. I'm just gonna bring out my Slazzle, and he has nothing to switch into Flamethrower. He's gonna bring out the Greninja. Just gonna bring into our safe Mandabuzz. He gets some really good momentum here with U-turn. But now that I know that he's Choice Specs, and I know I can live Specs Thunderbolt easily, even if he's modest. So I'm just going to make the Roost Blade to scout what he wants to go for. And if he locks himself into Electric move, then that's a free switch into Zygarde. So he's going to go for Hidden Power Ice, and you're going to see we chew that quite nicely. You know, I can just go for the Brave Bird, expecting Tapu Bulu to come in, as that's exactly what happens. So we're going to do a clean 47%. Here I'm going to make an aggressive swap into Salazzle to try to offensively threaten this. And also catch, I guess I wouldn't catch Zero there, but I wasn't concerned about Zero. Yeah, this was just an aggressive switch into Salazzle. Oh, this covered the Toxic play, which would be the Bulu's best way of hitting my Mandabuzz. As here I'm going to go for an Overheat, which does the most damage to the incoming Greninja while still covering the potential Scizor swap on the Sludge Wave, or staying in with the Bulu. We're going to get off, as you see, a nice 47%. We go Golisopod on the U-turn. Golisopod's pretty thick. You can take any hit from this thing. So He brings up Bulu, but the grassy terrain has been up for a little bit, so it'll be going away soon. And I know he's a defensive Bulu, so I can take a Horn Leech. And just take this as an opportunity to fire off a Choice Banded Leech Life. She's we're only going to take 39, doesn't even pop her emergency exit, and we're going to heal up most of that health. And now the train's going to be gone, so he won't do as much damage with the Horn Leech. We're going to do a whole 38 to the Scizor, which reveals that it's not very bulky. I'm expecting... Like, Scizor doesn't actually have the best coverage for Golisopod. Like, things like Bullet Punch, Superpower, like standard moves for it don't really do too much. U-turn is yeah, bug moves will hurt it, but yeah, I decided to stay in here and just go for another Leech Life. We're getting a lot of recovery back, doing a lot of damage. So he's going to SD, which is nice that we're going to deny him a second SD, which would actually win him the game by staying in. He's going to knock off, which does a lot of damage because he is Life Orb. And he also gets rid of our Choice Band, which is kind of sad, but will kind of prove advantageous later on to be able to change moves. We're going to this Salazzle, and since we're such a bulky variant and he is a Jolly Scizor, we're actually able to eat this up, go for a Flamethrower, and knock this out. And now he has no Poison Resist, so at this point I'm going for the Sludge Wave Sweep. So I identified Golisopod as non-essential. We're actually going to chew up the Ice Beam here. And here, I'm going to predict him to Protect on the first impression and go for a Spike. Because what I need to do is get a little bit of damage on Zeraora, and then Sludge Wave will sweep. So I'm going to bring out my Mandibuzz. And Brave Bird this thing. Do a lot of damage, potentially putting it in range of a Spike. And here I'm going to Roost to get myself nice and healthy. As he brings out the Zeraora, just takes the round of Spike, which is perfect. And I know if he attacks me here with a Thunderbolt and I Foul Play, then he's 100% in range of my Sludge Wave, and I win. That is exactly what's going to happen. As you can see, we chew that up nicely. Do a nice 34 with Foul Play. I just Foul Play again. I've already won at this point. He brings Zeraora back out. HP Ices, preventing me from going into something like Zygarde, but Scarf Sludge Wave will be able to win the game. And I need to drink some water, so I'm not going to do a post-game thought process, but that's going to be all. Thanks.